What's up, positive people? You got Dana here, and I definitely wanted to review the first season of Atlanta when the show first came out, but I don't know, life was happening. I was probably in my feelings at the time and was too lazy to record. But season 2 is out. I hope you watch it because I'm gonna go ahead and spoil it. So if you haven't watched it, turn this shit off and go watch it and come back. Season 2 starts with us in the middle of this random conversation between these two guys chilling at the house. You got this one, and it's like your typical Atlanta conversation. Anyway, that particular scene leads to a robbery at the Mrs. Winters on Glenwood, and I think anybody who's from East Atlanta in particular knows that damn Mrs. Winters, the exact Mrs. Winters where this scene was had. What I particularly love the most about this show is that it makes me reminisce on so many different places. I always can pick up things in the background that remind me of home. So, in that regard, that's why it meant so much to even talk about the show, is because it reminds me so much of home. They find out that, you know, if you ask for a number 17, you'll get an 8th back from the person that you're ordering from or whatever. So they go up to the Mrs. Winters, you know, order a bunch of food, ask for a number 17 with the intention of robbing the restaurant or whatever. Needless to say, a gunfight happens. Dude at the drive-thru, you know, he's not going out like no hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like, he must be the plug because he was not going out like no hoe. So there's gunfire back and forth. Somebody out of the car hops into the drive-thru. It's a whole thing, child. They manage to get out with the packs. And they run, honey. The guy that they robbed is shooting up the whole back of the car, so they ended up stopping the car for a second, and you think, oh my god, maybe he shot the driver dead. Instead, the driver, or I guess the girl in the back seat, decides to hop out of the back seat, and she's very much clearly shot, not dead, but clearly shot, screaming in the middle of the street as a drone shot takes off. When I tell you what a way to open up this first season, and what a way to like get us used to the idea of, you know, you think shit's sweet and then something else happens. Where we left off, you know, Ern is still homeless. He's in his storage unit sleeping. He gets caught the next day, I'm assuming based on the sequential order of how this goes, and he's woken up to one of the storage people letting him know that the owner of the place found out, yeah, I know you've been laying your head here or whatever, you gotta get the hell up on. And he is literally in the process of getting stuff from him while he's laying there. And what made me laugh is, like, you know, of course, Ern is like, yeah, aren't you supposed to wait to auction my stuff off? Like, you can't just start taking my stuff while I'm laying right here. Like, I'm here with my property. You can't just take it. And the dude's just like, yeah, I saw Storage Wars too, bro. This ain't that. And I thought that was a really cute scene. It's like, yeah, man, yeah, we not about to respect your stuff, especially not when you've been laying your head here. I think you got your money's worth plus some. So whatever happens to your stuff past that point, you better be lucky, because like I said, you've been living there. It's storage units. And I don't know, I have to figure out how exactly I want to review these. Like I said, I've never reviewed, it's been years since I reviewed, so I'm kind of all over the place, I feel like, a little bit. You know, Ern's waking up at the storage unit, so he decides to go on, get started with his day. He ends up, you know, swinging through Al's crib, which, you know, keep in mind, you know, this is Paperboy now. He's got a little money, so he's got a little place and everything. He's on house arrest, but you can tell that, like, he's the man in these streets now. Like, he's the man now, and everybody's answering to Al. Everybody's kissing Al's ass. He's got hoes over there. He's got hangers on over there. And of course, Darius is over there too. So Ern passes through, sees how good everybody's doing. Darius offers him like a cold slider, which I don't know. You know, Darius is like one of these kind of hotel, but not really. Like, he's your deep stoner friend. So I don't know if there was something to eating a cold slider. What made me laugh too was, like, he was like, yeah, be careful, they're cold. And I'm like, what? And then he sat it on the bare table. Like, Darius makes absolutely no sense. So that entire scene made me laugh. Ern is clearly jealous, you know, by the fact that, like, you know, his family doesn't want to take him in, especially with him being homeless, but obviously his pride won't allow him to express those feelings. And at the end of the day, every man for himself. Ern, you're a grown-ass man. Fucking go, you know what I'm saying, go get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? Go get yourself together. Because keeping in mind his situation before, like, he had a living girlfriend, he had a situation, kind of fucked all that shit up. So, you know, you make your bed, you lie in it. So yeah, he's over there at Al's place or whatever, and you can tell he wants to ask to crash, but instead Al's just like, yeah, I need you to actually go by the old crib where Uncle Willie and him at, because my aunt's talking about she's been kidnapped, or, you know, like she's kidnapped in the house, so go see about that, because she's talking about calling the police, and I don't need nobody, you know what I'm saying, I don't need, police through the house. So before, of course, he goes on this mission, he's got to go to the probation office. And when I tell you this shit hit home for me, especially, like I said, I've talked about my DUI here on the channel before. I don't think I've ever talked in detail about probation, but probation in Georgia, and I'm sure it's like this in a lot of other places where there are large concentrations of people of color, but like, it's essentially it's a debtor's prison style system. It's like, okay, so you get charged, convicted, whatever the case may be, and now you are, paying your debt back to society. Probation. So you have class after class after class that you need to take and pay for. They typically put that on top of whatever your probation fees were, whatever your fines were, and this is essentially a balance that needs to be paid within the time frame of your probation. And if you're someone with money, you can do that easily. Oftentimes when people have the money, they pay their shit up early so they can go on non-reporting status. But usually what it is people will go on probation, and literally you have to be perfect while you're on it. No arrests, no nothing. And here's the thing, in the scene at the probation office, Donald's sitting there and he's having this back and forth exchange with his PO, and I'm sure this, you know what I'm saying, and this is a character type that you see, I'm sure this PO is a good woman who, you know what I'm saying, wants him, you know what I'm saying, to just pay his fees and move on. Y'all gotta excuse me. Even though this struggle wig is a struggle wig, it's still cute to me, so I'm playing around with it. But yeah, so he's at the PO's office and everything, and she's just like, okay, yeah, you're here, on possession with intent to sell. And he's just like, yeah, it was a half a joint. Keep in mind, like I said, back home in Georgia, marijuana possession is still very much illegal on the state level. Legal out here. You know what I'm saying, it really blows my mind that something that I do here on a regular basis, something that I consume here on a regular basis, I don't have to worry about coming back to bite me in the ass, but I would never think to be as free about it as I am if I were back home. So, he's going back and forth with her, and she's just like, yeah, you want to make sure that you stay out of trouble. And he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna stay out of trouble. I don't plan on getting charged anything. She's just like, no, it's not charged, it's getting arrested again. One's easier than the other. And that's true, you know what I'm saying? You could literally be outside minding your business, walking down the street, and you might get accosted by a police officer, and based on the way that you talk to that man, that routine stop might turn into something more. If you don't know how to talk to them, if you don't know what to say, if you don't know your rights, you can be weaseled into an arrest. You know what I'm saying? We don't equip our black boys and our black girls with knowing how to deal with these situations. And I don't know, like I said, the whole PO scene, oh, that shit hit home for me, dog. Fuck the whole probation racket. If I decide to pay cash, extra fees if I gotta pay cash and card, extra fees if I gotta pay late because I'm choosing between, keeping my phone on and these probation fees. Like, we all make mistakes in this world, and I don't feel like my economic status should factor into those sorts of things. So I felt for Ern. Even though Ern ain't shit, I felt for him in that moment, because it's just like, man, you probably trying to keep your nose clean, but this shit's making it all the more difficult, right? So he finishes up at the PO, and then he hops back in the car with Darius, because Darius is the one driving him around at this point, getting him from place to place. He was like, okay, yeah, if you could take me to the probation office, I don't mind going to Willie's. So they've been kicking it in the car. There's an awkward conversation between the two of them in the car, because Al and Darius are also acting weird with one another as well as with Ern. So it's like they've got their own friction, Darius and Al, and then Darius and Al have some, or rather Al has some weird thing right now with kind of everybody, which I feel like has just more to do with the fact that he's just that nigga right now. we get to Willie's house, and this is like the part of the episode that I feel like really made the episode for me. Like, everything else was like appetizers to lead me up to this big ass entree of this like final scene. So they pull up to Willie's house, and Darius is just like, I feel vibes, man. There's something about this house. Like, I need to come in there with you. Of course, Ern's like, whatever. They knock on the door. Who answers the door? Fucking Cat Williams as Uncle Willie. So he answers the door, and he ain't having it. He's just like, man, who is you? Like, what you want? So he lets him in, and Ern's just like, yeah, Al sent me down here. He said you got Auntie hemmed up in a room, kidnapped, and that she's gonna call the police, and that's gonna get us all in trouble. Especially considering the fact that when you think about it, Ern is over there with his probation ass, so he don't need to be in no trouble. Ain't no telling what Willie got going on. And as we get further into the scene, we find out just what he has going on. So we're talking to so Ern and Willie are going back and forth, and there's a conversation in that scene about and on the drive to Willie's, Darius brings up Florida Man. Oh my God. I didn't realize that the idea of Florida Man was bigger than just this regional thing where we talk shit about the weird stuff that goes on down in Florida. I just assumed that, like, that, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody knows who Florida Man is now, clearly, based on seeing it on the show and everything. That whole part made me laugh. I do kind of believe the theory that Florida Man's there to, like, scare black people. Yes. So that was a really funny moment in the first episode. Then the whole what else was there? So yeah, back to Willie and the old house. Ern goes over there. Willie's over there, chain smoking, carrying on, mad because he says they aunt done stole $50 from him. That's why he's got her locked in a room. So Ern goes to see about her. Did you steal the money? She says no. Ern gives her $100 to give to Willie. Look, I don't know if you did it or not, but just to dead this shit, go give him this money. The minute he goes to give her the money so they can squash the bullshit, fucking Fulton County is knocking on the door outside. So Willie goes to answer the door. And he's giving them his ass to kiss. Fuck y'all, I know my rights. As long as I don't do, you know what I'm saying? I didn't do shit. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? As long as I don't leave my house, you know what I'm saying? It's fine. Kiss my ass, all this stuff. They're telling him to come outside. He's like, nah. And then he goes, and y'all need to leave me the hell alone because I got an alligator in here. And they're like, you ain't got no alligator. And all the kids outside is like, yeah, the hell he do got an alligator. And you got to think about it. Usually what people do to get a damn gator in the house in the first place is you find that gator when it's a baby. And then you feed that boy till he's nice and long. So you got to think he probably had that a baby gator that he's just been raising. So there's that. So then, Willie's just off the deep end or whatever. Ern goes to answer the door because you got to think now. Ain't no telling what's in the house, all that stuff. So Willie goes, answers the door. He's just like, look, just give me 5 minutes to get him together. I'm going to get him out of this house. Just give me a moment. During that time, he's just like, man, let them in. You don't want to fuck with Fulton. Trying to talk to Willie. And it's like, and Ern, and I'm not going to lie to you, Ern's just like, you know what? Willie's just like, you know what, Ern, ain't nothing you can tell me, bro. Like, your life's in shambles, dog. Like, say what you want to say about me, but your life's in shambles. Like, I don't need to be taking life advice from you. And of course, Ern had 1,000,001 things to say back. I feel like Willie had better points, Jay or not. And like I said, Jay's and Crackhead's back home, Jay's back home, like, they be sages of wisdom. I hate to say it. You know what I'm saying? With their lives being all fucked up and everything, they seem to be closer to God. They seem to be more spiritual. They seem, like I said, because they go through the trenches, I feel like they just come with a deeper set of wisdom. And I'm of the mind that you can get wisdom from the most random places. So I feel like Jays are just as wise, if not wiser, than your pastors, your priests, and everything. A lot of the times they're former Jays. So Willie asks Ern to hold a gun for him, which I think is fucking retarded, but whatever. Ern decides to leave. He's just like, you know what, y'all, he's all yours. During that time frame, Willie I guess opened up that bathroom to let that gator out and hauled ass running. But when I tell you that damn alligator looked majestic as hell on that lawn, it was just a nice way to end the episode. I'm really excited about this season. I waited so long for this show to come back. I had a lot of regret about not reviewing it the first go round. So I am going to try to review every single episode and yeah, maybe post it on, I don't know, Sunday or Tuesday, just to give people time to watch it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. If you haven't gotten into it, I believe the first season is only like 10 episodes, so it'd be nothing for you to binge it and get caught up. I think it's a really good show. If you like Twin Peaks, I think you'll really enjoy it. A lot of people say it's like Twin Peaks for Atlanta. Obviously, if you're from the Southeast, you'll probably just enjoy hearing, you know, the local colloquialisms and just seeing that life on screen, because it's definitely reminiscent of like Atlanta as it is right now. I feel like I don't think that this is a at all period. Like, this feels like a very now show. So yeah, till later. Peace, positive people.